welcome to Theater Crafts, where we take theater memorabilia and we make brand new treasures. Today we are making magnetic bookmarks. So, got a whole bunch of them here that I want to show so you can see. So I've taken images from programs or brochures, and basically they're magnetized. So when you're reading a book or you've got your script and you're memorizing lines, you can put this right where you need it to be so that next time you find your place. Here's a Shakespeare version using a text from Shakespearean play right on the inside. We've got another with images from Broadway productions. Here's another one with images from Broadway productions, more Shakespeare. So these are fantastic. I love how they came out, and I'm going to show you today how to make them. So let's get crafting. Welcome back to the workbench. So let's talk about how we make these. So I want to give you a little bit of a closer look here. So what I've done is I've created basically a shape. You can take any shape you want. I've got a couple here that I just cut out of like a thick paper. I happen to like those shapes. You can do any shape that you like. And I use those as a base. So those are inside here. And then whatever your images are. So you want to take, here I had images from just a brochure. I took for this one here, I took a bunch of images from programs that I had, and I glued them onto a paper here. And so that way, and then I actually used a Mod Podge to glue that down. I'm going to be honest, this was one of the first ones that I did, and I don't like the style of this as much as the others. But it's certainly an easy way to do it, because I ended up doing on the back side, let's see here, I have a piece of sheet music. It's actually kind of a scrapbooking paper that looks like sheet music. And then I glued these onto the back side of that paper. And so it's only one sheet here. So that works out much easier than some of these, which are multiple sheets, and I'll get into that in a moment. So some of the other things that you're going to need, obviously a glue stick so that you can glue these down. Like I said, I used Mod Podge on this one here. You could use something like a Mod Podge. I actually don't like that style, that approach as much as these, and I'll talk about these when I get to making them. Then you have, like I said, your images there. I got for this one here, you can see, I actually pulled that right out of a playbill. Those are the images right there. So you can really get images anywhere. For these, the Shakespeare, I pulled it right out of, this is an old Shakespeare book that I have that is really worn and pages were missing from it. So I use it for crafting all the time. And then some of these here, I have stickers. I have a bunch of stickers that I thought were really fun and would be fun to put on these. And I have a bunch of stickers. Those were Shakespeare stickers that I just showed you. And then these are just random theater stickers. And so I've used those on these. So you see there's the musical theater is my sport. And then you've got a couple of Shakespeare stickers here that I think really kind of dress it up. So that's really fun. These here, like for example, this background here, that is just scrapbooking paper that I had in my stash. So nothing fancy there. Same for this scrapbooking paper from my stash. Then you want to have your magnets, obviously. These are sticky back magnets. Couldn't be easier. I use for these here, the four, here I used contact paper. Keep knocking my glue over. Contact paper, and I'll show you how to use that in a bit. Then some things to help you. I used, obviously a pair of scissors. I use this as a Cricut tool just to pull up, because I'm going to be honest, I had a hard time getting the backing off the stickers and off of the contact paper. So a tool like this, if you have it, or even like a pin or something like that would work, just to pull the backing off if you're having a hard time. I used also my Cricut tool here to really adhere the contact paper to the bookmark. But you could use anything. It could be a credit card or a bank card or something like that. Something that would give you that hard surface to make sure that it's nice and solid. I think that's about it. Oh, I did sew some of these. You'll see on these. And this started with this one. I actually sewed. You can see the edges there. I sewed the edges. This came out of necessity. So if you see on this one, I did not sew the edges on this one. This one, I made the contact paper a little bit wider, and so they stuck together. This one is the first one I did of this style, and the contact paper was not as wide, and so it kept coming unstuck. And I thought, oh golly, how am I going to fix that? Because I actually really like this style. And so what I did is I took my sewing machine and I just did a zigzag stitch around the edges here, and it secures it, but I also love the look of it. I think that it gives it a nice finished look. And speaking of finished look, you'll notice that the edges are a little bit brown. I added for those just a distressing ink. So I used this for the Shakespeare ones. This one has blue here, and I have a blue ink. I didn't do it on this one, and I did the blue ink on that one. So totally up to your aesthetic and what you like, but this certainly works, and I'll show you. We're going to do a Shakespeare one first, and I'll show you how I do that. So those are the materials. Let's get started. Here we go. I'm going to make a Shakespeare bookmark first, and so we're going to take, I actually found this paper. I really liked it a lot. I used it on one of the others. I used it on this one here, and I really like the look of it. I don't know if you can see it on the punch out there. I used the text in the middle, but I like the punch out. So I'm going to use this as the backing. So this could not be any easier. So basically I'm going to take my glue stick, and you don't even have to be precise with this. That's what's so great about making these, is you can, oops, my light went out above. You can just glue this down. Glue that. And even though if I don't get it on all edges of it, it doesn't matter, because I'm going to put the contact paper over the top of it anyway, and that will help to secure it. So it's really just getting it down so that you can cut it out and keep it there for the putting it together, the process of putting it together. So literally just going to cut around the edges here. And like I said, you can use any shape. This is just a shape that I chose to use for mine. It also depends, like if you have stickers or something, like whatever size you have, that that would certainly work. All right, so now we've got the backing here. Just cut that. There we go. Okay, and that would be the inside. And then I've got this, it's from Midsummer Night's Dream, and I've got this Puck's speech. I think is kind of cool. So the challenge here is you want to make sure that I want to try to get the text in the middle. I don't know if you can see it. I can see it on the counter here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some glue here, and then I will try to center that. So I don't want to have too much of the edge showing. I just think the text is much more interesting. Now, the challenge with text, I'm going to be honest, the challenge with text is you've got, because this folds over, and I'll show you on this one here, because it folds over, you're going to see on one side the text is upside down. You see it on this side, it's upside down. It's right side up here, so this is what I had intended for the front. But for some reason, it doesn't bother me, honestly. So you can see that through there. So again, turn it over, and I'm going to cut this out. Sorry, I just hit my camera, sorry. This would be great. If you have scripts and you're learning your lines, you could use these bookmarks in your script. You could use them as gifts for your theater friends, or if you're reading in a Shakespeare class or a theater class, you could use them as your bookmarks. All right, so there we go. Got that. So now I'm going to fold this in half so that we see where the front and the back are located. All right, so there we go. And sometimes just folding that helps us to just make sure that everything is lined up. So just kind of making that a little bit straighter. Bring this up. Okay, so there we go. Now, that looks kind of boring. That looks kind of flat. So we've got some of that. So like I said, I really like this. And on one of them, I cut a kind of a circle out. But I have this, I don't know if you have them, but you can certainly cut circles out with regular scissors. I thought it would be kind of fun to just use a punch and add a couple of, cut out 4. So this punch, I don't know if you see that, it's a flowered punch. And basically put that right in and punches out. I love how easy that is, and I think they look pretty awesome. So I'm just putting that kind of like that. This is the sticker that I saw and I liked. I don't know, I don't like the way that looks. So maybe if I put it side by side, let's see. Just to break up, I'm trying to break up the text a little bit. All right, let me try that. And I'm noticing I'm just putting a dot, and again, it's just to keep it on there because we are going to secure it with the contact paper in a bit. Okay, then let's see how that looks. It's so silly. Actually, I think, I don't know, should I put another, maybe I should put another sticker on the back just for fun. Let's see, I've got, some of these are too, I think that's too big. Oh, that's not bad. That actually works. I kind of like that one. Let me see. What if I put another of these on the bottom? Let's see how that looks. Oh, I actually kind of like that. I like that better, actually, than the one I chose. Let's do that. And again, it's just to break up the background there. All right, so as I said, I was having a hard time coming up with taking the backing off of these, so I used my Cricut cutter. So weeding tool. It's a weeding tool. So just pulling it in and then able to pull that off. You just want to be careful you don't poke through the sticker. Okay. So I like how the brown pulls out the brown here. That's kind of cool. Let's see. All right. Should we put another sticker on the back? Everybody loves a barred boy. It's all about the colors here. I want the colors to kind of go. Maybe I put this one on the back. If I put this behind it. I don't know, the white kind of is stark next to that. I'm not sure I like that. Let's see what I got else. I got, well, let's try this one and see what this one. That one. I can put this below it. It's a decorative element. You know, the other thing I could do too is this paper. Oh, I have an idea. See? Process. Take this and put this on here and then cut around that as a border. I'm going to do that. All right. Okay. All right, then I'm just going to cut around. I'm just going to rough cut first, just because it's a big piece. Now, just eyeballing it. I'm famous for eyeballing things. If you want to measure it around, you certainly can do that. Just going to make sure it's the right size to fit. All right, let's see if that fits. All right, so it's a little bit too big. So let me round out these corners. Take this down just a smidge. Having an extra border is just going to add to it, I think. All right, I do need to round out this corner just a little bit. There are actually punches that you can use. I have them, but this is so small. You can round out corners with punches. And you get them a little bit more precise than I'm doing. There you go. That works great. Okay, so again, putting a little bit of glue on that. And there you go. Okay, so it's two-sided, and you can use either side. That's kind of fun. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to take the ink and we're going to ink the edges. So as I mentioned before, using the Distress Oxide. Now this is basically any sort of scrapbooking ink, and I'm going to take the dauber here and basically just inking the edge. The reason for this is because we've got a couple of pieces of paper here, and by giving it a little bit of color, it doesn't quite stick out as being two pieces of paper stuck together. It gives it a little bit more of a finished look. It's a kind of a standard scrapbooking kind of approach. It also gives it that kind of old world look, which I really like. And then I'm going to actually do it on the inside as well. It's not going to be seen as much, although it does give it a little bit of depth. You can see the color variation there. Okay. Now I could also, if you want it, you could also add stickers on the inside. Actually, I'll show you in a second. I did on one of them, I did that just so that when you open it up, you've got a little bit of a surprise. Here, let me show you. I did it on this one here. It says Broadway. I just glued Broadway in there. So you could, if you wanted, but some of them I just kept the regular paper in there. So it's completely up to you how you finish the inside. Okay, so now we're going to use the contact paper. So here's contact paper. This is just general contact paper. I got this at, my local dollar store, but you can get it anywhere, any home goods store, or even a like a Staples or like that kind of store. All right, so I've got clear contact paper here, and I'm just cutting it to make it a little bit easier to work with. And I'll show you in a moment. So I'm cutting it larger than the bookmark is, and that's what I was saying earlier, that you want to have it larger because you want to have it over the edge, and that's what's going to keep it from coming undone. All right, so here we go. I'm going to make sure everything looks the way we want it before we add the contact paper. So we're going to flip this over. So this is the side that's going to go on. Underneath is the sticky side. So this is the backing. So I'm going to take that weeding tool that I said I have for my Cricut and pull the backing off. It gets really sticky, so you want to be careful. All right, so I'm going to do, literally just going to drop this down. All right, and you want to push this right down. I'm going to flip it over so that make sure I've got really good contact. And I've got my scraper here. Just make sure I've got good contact on the inside here. Okay, we're going to do more afterwards so that we got a good contact on the outside. All right, so we got the other one. And again, the backing. Take this. Okay. Peel that off. And this time I'm going to thread there. Put that right down. And it's sometimes easier to walk this down so you don't get bubbles in it, because you don't want bubbles. It's going to create permanent. Yeah, and I got a bubble there. So I don't know if you can see that right there. So I think I can work it out though with the scraper. Yep, I did. Okay, so I'm going to really secure this well, and I'm going to also go right around the edges so that those two pieces of contact paper, the stickiness will adhere to each other, and that will help to keep it from coming undone. And that was the issue that I had on that first one that I was telling you about. But this way I'm able to get them secured. But like I said, I really love the stitching around this, and I will do that with this one too, so you can see how I did that. Okay. All right, so now that you've got them, I've got them adhered, I'm going to cut maybe like 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch away from the edge of the bookmark. Okay. So that we've got plenty of room for it to stay adhered. And then when we sew it, now again, you don't have to sew it. As long as you've got good adhesion here, you don't have to give it some stitches. If you don't have a sewing machine, that's certainly fine. You don't have to do that. Like I said, discovered it quite by accident that I liked the look of it because it was out of necessity. But you kind of, it's just like with making props and costumes sometimes. You discover things because you need to make those changes. Okay, so we are pretty close to being done. What we'll do is I'm going to make another one, and then we'll go to the machine, and I'll show you how to sew around it. Okay? So I have made a second one. I did it off camera just because it's the same process. So in this one, I took the sheets that I had put together, the decoupage that I had put together on the sheets, and I basically cut them up. I made 2 rounds, cut it up just to vary it. It is, like I said, when you fold it, it is upside down on the side, but this is the front. I had a sticker that I thought comedy and tragedy masks in the front was fun, and the reason I put this here, and I did that on this one as well, is that when I cut them, there was obviously there was the gap there, and I wanted to cover that gap so that it wouldn't be seen when you're using it as a bookmark. So I use that to cover the gap. And what I did on the one that I made previously is, you see, I sewed across there. And again, just to give it some stability, I will do that as well on this one. So these are both done. They've both been laminated with the contact paper. Although if you have a laminating machine, boy, that would make it really, really nice and crisp. So now we're going to go to the sewing machine and we're going to sew around the edges. So I'm at the sewing machine, and so what I'm going to do, here's the first one that I'm going to edge. I've got some black thread in there. I'm actually going to put my presser foot down, and I've got it on a zigzag stitch. Let me show you here. I've got a zigzag stitch going on over here. So I think a zigzag stitch for this one I thought looked good. So I'm going to press my pedal, and just as in any sewing project, you want to reverse. So the reverse on my machine is right here. So you want to reverse to make sure those stitches don't come out. So it just gives it a back stitch. And then literally I'm just going to follow all the way around the edge. And if you notice, I'm catching both the paper and the contact paper in it. And as I get around the corner here to the edge, I'm going to back stitch again for just a moment, and then just cut it off. Just raise my presser foot, and there you go. How great does that look? I'm just going to cut the strings, or the thread here, sorry, so that looks more finished. I love it. All right, so now we're going to do the other one. Now, on this one, again, I'm going to sew over the edge here. There's my kitty. You would expect her to play. I'm going to do this one a straight stitch, just for fun. And again, just going to start in back stitch just a little bit, and then just go straight across to the end, and then doing the other side as well. Every time I record, my kitty loves to say hello. All right. And you can see it's separating a little bit right there, which is one of the reasons that doing the stitching around the edge is really helpful. All right, just going to cut some of those threads. Cut the thread over here too. Now I'm gonna sew around the edge. All right, I'm just starting here just so that I can kind of hide that a little bit. I'm going to switch back to the zigzag stitch. I just happen to like the way the zigzag stitch looks, although you could do a straight stitch on the edge too. That works just fine. All right, again, just back stitching just a moment. Get to that back stitching again, and then cutting it off, and there we go. And basically all you have to do then is fold it, and we're going to go back to the workbench, and I'll show you putting the magnets on. There we go. Okay, so we're back at the workbench, and so now all we have to do is put the magnets on. So I've got magnets here. I just want to make sure we've got the right sides together. So here are two of them. You see that there is a paper backing on there to protect the adhesive. And all right, so those two are good. And then, now you could also, there are different types of magnets. You could get there are strips of magnets that you can get and cut them so that they fit your particular bookmark. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off one side and attach it to the inside here. And then I'm going to keep that, magnetized on its partner there. And then I'm going to take off the backing and then put it together. And that way we know that it's aligned perfectly. Okay, and so there we go. There's the magnet. And then I found that, some of these, especially because there are multiple layers, I might need to flatten them just a little bit just to get them to stay closed. So I did that with some of these just to make sure that this folded area is flat so that that will stay closed when you put that in your book. And then there's this one. This one's very thick because of the amount of paper there. So I'm going to flatten that a little bit. Okay. And then, again, same thing. Take these off. Put that on the inside. Yep. And then take off that, keep that on the magnet so that it is properly aligned when you close it. And there we go. There are the magnetized bookmarks. I love these. I love that you can customize them to whatever interests you have. You could add music, you could add, in this particular case we had Shakespeare and musical theater and all sorts of different styles. You could take some of your favorite playwrights or authors, whatever works for you, and then use those in your books. So like this, take your bookmark, open up your book, and then let it save your page for you for when you come in next time. And there you go. Thank you for joining me for this week's theater craft. I hope you make these. If you do, please send pictures so that I can see how they come out. I am so glad you joined me, and I will see you next week. Have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye.